Hey, Ayurveda Everyday with Talia. This is Talia. It is the most gorgeous spring day today in Santa Cruz, California. I just got home from a bike ride, like literally, I just got home. And, oh my gosh, it's just so beautiful. Like spring is just everywhere, especially where I live. I was going to do the Facebook Live outside, but, I don't know. It's a little bit tricky out there to get the video to work. Anyway, welcome to the Facebook Live this Sunday evening, this special Facebook Live, really masterclass, because what I want to share with you tonight is the same 5 tell-all secrets that I shared in my Ayurveda Springtime webinar last week. So if you missed the webinar and you were bummed that you missed it, this is a great opportunity to kind of hear what I shared. And because I think these 5 tips are just so important. And I'm going to preface this by saying there are so many more than just the 5 tips that I teach in, that I taught in my webinar and that I'll teach tonight. But as you know, my RAD Cleanse, the doors are open for 24 hours plus some change, so maybe about 30 more hours from right this moment. And if you have been on the fence about whether or not to join, I encourage you to ask me questions in this live tonight. Just want to make sure that anybody who's on the fence feels good about it either way, like whatever decision that they make, whatever decision you make. So feel free to ask away. And yeah, so I gave this a different name for our Facebook Live. What did I call it? How to Clear the Cobwebs with the 5 most powerful springtime Ayurveda rituals. So I'm going to share a little bit first about, why you want to listen to this Facebook Live. So number 1, you are moving into spring, and if you're anything like me, even though you may have already started to clean up your diet a little bit, like maybe instead of French fries when you go out to dinner, you're like, no, I'll order the salad, or you're drinking warm water. Hey, thanks for being here. Or you're drinking warm water all day. However, you're still feeling like a bunch of mucus in your mouth. Hi. In your mouth or in the back of your throat. Maybe this is kind of silly to share this, but the other day, sometimes I order clothes online, and I ordered clothes from my favorite online shopping place. Kind of embarrassed to share this, but Revolve. I love ordering clothes from them every once in a while because the shipping is free and the returns are free. And it was at like the evening, and I was just wearing a pair of underwear. Hey, oh my God, from Fiji. Awesome. I was just wearing a pair of underwear. Hey, thanks for being here, everybody. And I caught a glimpse of myself in my long mirror in just my underwear. And my first reaction, I'll be honest, because I come from a pretty powerful background of eating disorder and body dysmorphia. And just general, like being really down on myself mentally and emotionally. That's my past. That's where I come from. So sometimes, those habits still crop up, especially when I'm not feeling my best. And I looked in the mirror, I saw myself in just my underwear, and my first reaction was ew, like, ugh, like, look at you. And then I really noticed that was my reaction. And I softened, and I actually took a long time with myself in the mirror, and just appreciated my body and loved my body. And I'm sharing this because I also, the initial ew was, yeah, I'm definitely carrying a layer that I haven't seen myself carry in 6 months. I guess I haven't been looking at myself in the mirror naked very often. But and I am changing my food, and I am adjusting myself to, this winter to spring transition, but I'm still, I still have a ways to go. It takes time to release the excess kapha that has built up in our bodies over the past 6 months. It takes time to help it move and release out of your body. So maybe you're like me and you're just really excited about doing every springtime ritual that you can to move that kapha. Like I keep feeling it in my mouth and in my throat. I just like, no, I'm ready to clear that. So maybe that's why you're here. Maybe you're here because you're really motivated to finally leave behind some negative health habits, some negative ways of thinking, stagnant energy that you've been carrying like a weight on your back or even weight on your, all over your body. And you're like, no, I'm ready to let that go. So whatever the reason that you're here right now, I'm super stoked that you're here, and I appreciate those of you who are here live. I always really appreciate that. So thank you. And I think everybody in this group knows about me, so I'm just kind of going through my webinar notes. I'm not going to share every single thing. I mostly want to share with you these 5 ways to clear the cobwebs, to shed old stagnant energy and feel light, vibrant, and free. Yes, motivated. Yes, I'm so motivated too. And, one of the things that motivates me in our group, Ayurveda Every Day with Talia, I welcomed a lot of the new members the other day. And I asked a question like, how do you feel when you're at your best? And how do you feel when you're at your worst? And when I was looking at everybody's answers, I was just thinking to myself, like, yeah, it's such a spectrum of how we can feel even in one day, even in one season. And it definitely made me feel motivated to feel light and clear and vibrant and inspired and clear thinking, all of those things that we get when we match our actions to the season that we're in. So yes, you're here for all those reasons. Awesome. All right, so let's start with secret number 1, or tip number 1. So I talk about this a lot. If you were in my Nourish Your Body with Ayurveda bootcamp, you know about this. You know about this if you were in Ayurveda Starter School as well. But the first tip is, what we talk about in Ayurveda, that we all have unique body types. We all have our own unique constitution that is truly like only you have your specific constitution, because your core constitution is not just your dosha. It's not just your elemental blueprint. It's also who you are genetically, what you inherited when you were still in the womb. So it has hereditary power. And then there's this kind of magic dust that none of us totally understand or can control, which is your karma. And Ayurveda says that when you're born, number 1, just that you are born and you are alive is a miracle, according to Ayurveda and to lots of people. But when you take your first breath, that is the moment that your elemental constitution is set. It's not set while you're in the womb. It's not set when you're conceived. It's set at the moment you take your first breath, because all of the factors leading up to your actual birth are part of your karma, your genetics, and your hereditary nature, what you inherit. And then you're here, and this is my opinion, or the way that I see it, you're here to be the most vibrant, healthy, energized, productive, generous, creative version of your core constitution that you can be. Some people are born with like 1,000 blessings at their back, and they're really happy and healthy from the get-go, and they stay that way for most of their life, if not all their life. And some people are born with a lot of complications, a lot of emotional, karmic, psychic baggage, and then there's everything in between. So when you're oriented to, I want to feel my best, I want to be, I'm motivated to be creative and clear and vibrant, and I want to make a difference for others, I want to be the biggest contribution I can be as a human, then it makes sense that you are investing your time and energy into things like Ayurveda that teach you about how to understand your body, how to understand your symptoms, and then respond accordingly. So the tip, I'm going to go back to the tip, It's eat for your constitution, but also for your current imbalance. So it's not enough to just focus, like if, let's say somebody who's watching right now, let's say one of you has, um, eczema. I'm just going to make something up. You have eczema. And in Ayurveda, eczema is a skin disorder. It's like wind pushing fire. There's a lot of dryness underlying eczema, generally speaking, and all of that wind kicks up any inflammation that's already there, and it makes it go like bloom into a forest fire. So that person who has eczema, what I want to teach and explain right now is you don't only eat for the eczema. You also want to think and know and get in touch with who are you at your core, because you probably weren't born with eczema. You might be dry and hot in your core constitution, in which case the eczema is kind of elementally similar to your core, but it might not be the case. And anybody with any core constitution can have any imbalance. So we want to learn how to do that. And then the third factor that I'm going to add to this that I think is so important, and to learn how to do that in the season that you're in. Because if you can think back to 6 months ago when we were moving from summer into fall, it was a super different feeling, a super different vibe in nature. And really, you had really different needs physiologically. So, to be able to identify, am I hot, cold, wet, dry? What are my symptoms now? What have I always related to elementally? And then what's this season? So it's a little bit tricky. It's a little bit of a puzzle to put it together, but it's not impossible. It's just taking it one step at a time. And as any of you who have done, well, if you've been in this group for a while or you've done any of my courses, you know that I love to teach this. So, learning how to listen to and honor your body is huge. And that's tip number 1. So that's foundational. Tip number 2, let me give you a few ways that you can do this. So in terms of listening to your body, because you might be watching and be like, I'm so new to this, like, I don't know. So number 1, I want you to download my Ayurveda Starters Guide if you don't already have it. It's right on the homepage of my website. You can't miss it. So taliaskitchen.com. But that leads you through a step-by-step investigation of where you are elementally. And you can apply it to your core constitution. You can apply it to your present imbalance and just learn about the fundamentals of understanding your body through Ayurveda. But there's a few other tips I want to give you for listening to what your body's really telling you. And think of this like when your body is communicating something to you, it's doing it for a reason. It's like it's really trying to get your attention and show you through the symptom, through the quality of the symptom. So for example, mucus in the throat, it's congested, it's wet, it's thick. So your body's letting you know, like, hey, like, can you help me break this up? Can you help me expectorate this and get it out of the body? There's always education for these things. But one way that you can really get in touch with what you're feeling is only eat when you're hungry. So if you are kind of like, well, I always eat around this time, but I don't know. I don't really know what I feel like eating, and I don't know. I don't really feel hungry. My recommendation to you is don't eat. Drink something. Maybe have some ginger tea. Have some warm water with a little bit of fresh mint that you can muddle in there. Maybe a squeeze of some fresh lime. Maybe even a little dash of apple cider vinegar. Like that will get your gastric juices moving and give you more of a sense of like, okay, yeah, I'm definitely not hungry. Or you might feel the drink go straight through you and then you're like, okay, I think I am hungry. And then you wait 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, and your stomach actually tells you you're hungry. That's really a key practice. So I encourage you to do that. And then before you decide what to eat, put one hand on your abdomen So I'm going to have you put it right on your stomach, which is up here. Your stomach's not down low. It's kind of right below your rib cage towards the left-hand side of your body. And close your eyes, take a few breaths, and ask yourself, like, what do I really need right now? And I think it's very interesting how much wisdom you already have within yourself, even if you're like, I'm new to this, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm here to learn. I'm telling you, you have so much innate wisdom inside of you that when you put your hand on your stomach and you just ask, like, what do I really need? It's a gut check-in, like an intuition check-in, not just what your stomach's going to tell you. So yeah, having crazy sugar cravings lately. So I'm not right now, but 2 weeks ago, I totally was too. And so here's my last tip for this section, this secret. What I started doing was, okay, I would have the sugar craving and it was really intense. And then I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I don't need sugar, but my body's telling me that I need something sweet. And the taste of sweet is expansive. It's hydrating in a certain sense. It's grounding. And if you're carrying yeast or candida or mold, right, your body, the bacteria will crave what feeds it. So I was having those same kind of sugar cravings, and I was like, oh geez, okay, this could really, I need to move this because I'm already feeling heavy and thick and mucousy. So what I did was I switched every time I had a sugar craving, and I mean, I've literally had this going for 2 weeks. I would make myself a cup of tea, not super hot, like room warm, and I was using digestive herbs. So I did coriander, cumin, fennel seed tea. I did a turmeric with 2 different types of ginger tea. I just kind of alternated. I'm still doing it, but I've been out of town for a couple days, so I have to get back into it. And then I added stevia or monk fruit extract, which is that like that Lakanto zero glycemic impact sweetener. And it really, really satisfied my sweet craving. It hydrated me. Also, I was doing it with digestive herbs as the base, so it's also helping to clear any stagnancy in the stomach channel, and it's really made a big difference. So hopefully that makes a difference for you. All right, my second secret for clearing the cobwebs is this is kind of a mindset one or an emotional one, and it's basically to stop shoulding yourself. If you've ever heard that, like, I should be I should be somewhere different than I am. I should be thinner. I should not have an extra layer of fat all over my body when I practice Ayurveda. Whatever the shoulds are for you, they're so truly negative, and I mean, I don't want to put a judgment on it, but I think that the problem with shoulding yourself is that you don't give yourself some compassion and acknowledgement for just where you're at, and that where you're at is actually okay. And it also can kind of give rise to all these other negative comments that are judgments about yourself, like, I'll never get there. Being healthy just isn't for me. I'm such a terrible person. I'm such a loser. Like, whatever your brand of negative self-talk is, shoulding ourselves just kind of gives permission for all of those thoughts to come through. And why I think that's important right now is this is a tricky time to transition from a lot of heaviness, which could be weight gain, but it can also be inflammation, pain, chronic allergies, difficulty breathing, getting sick, depression. Like, it's already kind of a really challenging time. So to add that on it can be damaging. And so my tip for you is to, don't judge yourself for where you are. Just start from where you are. where you are is a perfect place to begin. And try to ask questions of yourself instead of judging yourself. Like, okay, like I feel crappy. What would bring me the most joy, the most balance, or the most movement right now? So for example, this morning, I actually had a real bummer conversation with a friend and client. It was just a real bummer. Like, we had something happen several months ago. I wanted to call and clear it up. I did clear it up. But then at the end of that conversation, there was like another thing, and we weren't able to get through it. And I hung up the phone and I was so bummed. And I'm like, I asked the right question. I said, okay, what do I need right now? And I'm like, I need to move. And I went for a long walk, called a friend. She stopped by. She brought me these beautiful flowers, which that was just lucky and blessed. Keep those in the camera. But it just shifted me so quickly, whereas I could have stayed beating myself up and being super bummed about it all day long. I could have done that. So we all need to do this. I'm not alone. But that, kind of takes me back to this, you're having crazy sugar cravings lately. Like, okay, don't make yourself wrong. Don't be like you shouldn't be having them. Just investigate. Like, okay, what do I need to soothe this craving without eating sugar? Definitely you can be cutting out like cookies or brownies, right? And at the very least making, eating fruit or getting something that's like a paleo cookie, because it's going to be made from coconut flour and almond flour, which at the very least is easier to digest than wheat flour or even rice flour or quinoa flour. However, in my RAD Cleanse, I talk about flour a lot, and I'm like, flour is flour. It's still pretty sludgy when you try to digest it. So fruit, or like the sweet tea idea, start there and see how it makes you feel. See how long you can sustain it. Don't make yourself wrong. Okay, how are we doing? Give me some comments, give me some hearts if you're following along and this is feeling relevant to you and you're into what I'm talking about and this is making a difference for you, because I want to make sure what I'm teaching is actually making a difference. And while I'm waiting for you to say some things and throw some hearts and some likes my way, because there's a delay, I'm going to grab some water. Yay, awesome, excellent. Thank you. All right, I'm glad. Okay, secret number 3. Give your liver some really good loving. So this is what I mean by that. Every season, no matter what, any time of the year, good, yay, any time of the year, there's a certain set of sister organs that are kind of in the forefront during that season. They are like physiologically in alignment with nature. They are the pair of organs that it's kind of like their turn to be front and center. And nature supports either the detoxification of those organs or the nourishment of those organs. And so again, when we eat, not only for our constitution, also for our current imbalance and for the season we're in, we're really honoring those organs in a very specific way. And these are primary organs. So like these are the organs that you really can't live without, okay? I mean, a couple of them you can, but you don't want to if you don't have to. So in spring, it's liver and gallbladder season. And I know lots of people live without gallbladders, but of course it's not ideal because the gallbladder is the storage vessel for the liver. It holds bile, and bile is like a soapy solvent that the gallbladder secretes when the stomach and the small intestine communicate to the gallbladder to let it know, like, hey, we've got some fatty material that we need to break down here, and we need your help. so the bile gets secreted. So when you don't have a gallbladder and you don't have that storage vessel for bile, it's harder for the body to break down fats and you have to change your diet more significantly. I love it when my cat just like makes a cameo appearance walking past the door or the window and gives me a look. It's so funny. That just happened. Any tips prepping for surgery and on narcotics? Sorry, off topic. Constipation, dehydration, avoidance, I probably already know. And somebody else is saying my liver definitely needs some tender loving care right now. So does mine. Everybody's does at this time of year. Everybody's does. And one thing I said in one of my webinars was, you know what, if everybody just took the time, even only once a year in spring, there would be so much less diabetes, especially of the type 2 variety, so much less heart disease, so much less high cholesterol, so much less high blood pressure, because the liver plays a big part in all of those diseases. So for the surgery and you're on narcotics, my advice to you, without knowing too much more, you're welcome to private message me and we can have a deeper conversation. Eat some stewed prunes and apricots, like make yourself a big batch of stewed prunes and apricots use a lot of water so that you can also drink that water once it's like tea. There's a recipe for it in our Facebook group in the file section. So that will help with the constipation and the dehydration. I don't know, I can't see your names the way that I do the Facebook Live. So I don't know if this is the same person who was saying you were having the sweet cravings, but the stewed prunes and apricots will kill two birds with one stone, help with constipation and also dehydration, but it also won't interfere with any of the drugs that you're on. So I need to know more about you before I can give you like a lot of tips. But one tip you can check with your doctor if they approve it, is to take arnica, homeopathic arnica, before surgery, and then you can take it afterwards too. Arnica is like a trauma relief herb. So that's what's been recommended to me before and after surgery, and I find that it makes a big difference. So anyway, I'm going to keep going. But your liver, talking about liver, your liver works super crazy hard for you. So here are, Shayna, it's my sister. Shayna's the one craving sugar. Okay, well, I told you. I wish I could see your names. I like it when Lori. Yes. I want to call you. Let's talk tonight anyway, Lori. Let's get on the phone tonight and we'll talk. Yes, I was going to call you today anyway. I've been having a busy day. Okay, so let's talk. Let's go back to liver. The way I think of the liver in spring, it's the CEO of your body. It does like 600 jobs. It has so much going on. So if it were a factory, it's ARNICA, arnica. If your body was a factory, your liver is the chemical processing factory of your body, is actually a better way to say it. And you want to clean the factory. I'm sure once a year, like I certainly hope so, that anywhere that we're getting food or any kind of edible anything, I hope they clean their factories once a year or more often, so we're not getting a bunch of sludge and drudge and gross stuff in what they're feeding us. So you want to do that for your liver. It's really and truly the same thing. It's like giving your body an oil change, but it's not necessarily done with oil. It's done with greens, the color green. So you know how celery juice is this big fad right now? It's for a good reason. And I'm actually super into it myself. But do some kind of green juice, especially if it's warm where you are. If it's not warm where you are, you might want to wait until it does get warmer, or only have green juice in the middle of the day when it's the warmest time of the day and when you feel warm. So it could be after you do a sweaty workout, or or you sit in a hot bath and get your sweat on in that way. So a couple little tips for what kind of green juice to grab. So if you're Vata, or you have a Vata imbalance, you're cold, light, dry, thin, make sure your green juice has some warmth to it. So a little bit of ginger, cayenne pepper, even like an apple or a beet. And like I said, drink it during the warmest time of the day. If you're Pitta, or you have a Pitta imbalance, make sure that you put like real hydrating electrolyte type vegetables into your green juice. So something like cucumber or celery. It could even be adding aloe vera juice to your juice. So thirsty. Speaking of which, or mint. It's not really an electrolyte. And then if you're Kapha, or you have a Kapha imbalance, which most of us do right now, add some true pungent spices to your green juice. It could be black pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, cayenne pepper. You could put leeks or spicy sprouts, radish, right? Catching my drift. Like, make it spicy. One of my best friends is super sick right now, and I just brought him a bunch of broth. And I was like, okay, here's your broth, but like, here's all the garlic and leeks that you're going to put into the broth when you heat it up. So you're not just doing broth. You've got to clear he's got to clear a bunch of kapha. He's really got it in his lungs. Okay, and then tip number 4 is move your body. This is my tip for clearing the cobwebs. And I think that, it's so like, oh, move my body, blah, blah, blah. But moving your body is not just for, getting that kapha that has built up all winter long to move, although that is what it does. It's also for your mental state. It's also for your emotional state. And it doesn't have to be a walk or a yoga class or a run or a fitness class. It can be just gua shaing. Taking those gua sha tools that I teach in this group all the time, taking a gua sha and feet to heart, hands to heart, gua shaing your body while you've got some sesame oil on your skin, and just letting your skin turn pink from the friction, and then jumping in the shower and rinsing it off. Or doing a salt scrub, or sitting in a hot bath. In fact, I was traveling the past couple days, and I had a hotel room with a bathtub, because I always ask for a bathtub. And it was my priority. My number one priority yesterday morning was sitting in a hot bath, getting sweaty, taking out my gua sha, doing my whole body. And so it does not have to be like, oh my God, I'm exercising, especially if you're in pain or you're too heavy to move like that. Like, it's not going to work for you. So meet all of these tips where you are. Don't just, I want you to listen. That's why the first tip, the first secret is learning how to listen to your body is everything. All right. And then the final tip, and this should be no surprise to you given what I've been talking about for the past month, is to do a spring cleanse. And the reason why I keep talking about this is because when the season changes, you have to change too. It's a preventative health measure. It's an in-the-moment health measure. And the thing about the spring cleanse that I teach, the RAD Cleanse, which doors close tomorrow night at midnight, so this really is your last chance to decide whether or not you're in, it's so much more than a cleanse. It's so much more than a detox. You learn so much about how to understand your body, how to listen to your body, how to eat for your core constitution, your current imbalance, and the season that you're in. And the thing about eating for the season that you're in, every season, every season has a pair of what we call sister organs, right, that are the prominent organs of that season. But every season has its own dosha, and which energetic constitution. And winter is kapha, spring is also kapha. So 6 months of kapha. We're now in the stage where the sun is out, the days are longer, all the spring onions and leeks and radishes are coming up for us to enjoy. And they're also coming up because if you align yourself with nature and you really take what nature's offering to you, not just what's growing in the ground, but theoretically, elementally, you're applying all of these principles of reducing kapha. Any time that you end up with excess kapha because you're going into surgery, or you went on vacation for 2 weeks and you had no idea that they weren't going to serve any healthy food, and you succumbed to your cravings and you gained 15 pounds, you now have a skill, an experiential practice in your bones of how to clear excess kapha when it comes up for you. It comes up for everybody in spring, but it can come up at any other time of year because everybody can have any imbalance. So it's really, the education is just absolutely invaluable. And, like I said in the beginning of this live, like, if you're motivated to change your old habits, if you are just ready to feel better, if you're tired of feeling sick, if you're just like, oh my God, come on, I know there's got to be a better way than this. Even if you don't know that, even if you don't know that you could feel better, but you are feeling crappy, I so recommend jumping into the RAD Cleanse. It's, number one, the community is super supportive. It's very motivating. It's very inspirational. I walk you through every step of the program, and we spend the first, say, 10 days or so just getting ready to cleanse. So we don't even jump right in right away. Like, I give you time to get prepared mentally, emotionally, physically. Sun's really in my eyes. And I am with you live, answering all of your questions. We have a private Facebook group that's so invaluable. There's a bunch of bonuses if you check out the sales page, which I'll give you when this video is posted officially to Facebook. You just get so much for such a small investment. So the RAD Cleanse is, if you put all the bonuses together, it's valued at almost $2,000. I only charge $397 for it. And I do it because I want this to be an affordable practice that anybody who's interested in learning Ayurveda, learning how to understand their body through Ayurveda, learning how to eat for their constitution, for their imbalance, for the season, can easily jump into. Once you are a RAD cleanser, you are forever a RAD cleanser, and you always get half price off of the course. Thanks, Lori. Lori says it's totally worth it. She learned tons, and she's someone who already knew a lot of Ayurveda before she did my RAD cleanse. So it's even for people who are like, I already know everything. Like, there's always more. I've been practicing Ayurveda for 18 years. I totally do other people's programs, and I'm always learning. And, before midnight tomorrow night, we have a $100 off coupon. So you can even get in for $100 less than $397. It's only $297 to jump in. So the coupon code, I'll also post it when I post the link to where you go to this. If you want to go straight to the page right now that has you sign up, it's taliaskitchen.com/yes. So taliaskitchen.com/yes. And then you just type in the coupon code I am RAD, all capital letters, 100. Again, since I can't see your names and I can't type into the chat the way that I lead the Facebook Lives, if one of you could type the coupon code in there, that would be so awesome. So, I'm not going to go too much more deeply into this. Clearing the cobwebs, for me, it's totally about doing the cleanse. And the first 4 secrets that I shared with you, guess what? We totally do them in the RAD Cleanse. Plus, we do about, exponentially about 20 times more than that. But it's not overwhelming. It really is just one day at a time. So much deep, beautiful listening to yourself and learning about yourself. So I can't recommend it enough. I have devoted the last 10 years of my life to teaching the RAD Cleanse in various forms. And I just absolutely love it. So thank you so much. Thanks for posting the coupon code. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, that's it. That's it. And if you're still on the fence, private message me. Let's talk. Let me know why you're on the fence. Let me answer your questions. I would just love to support any of you who are still contemplating it but not yet in. And I love that so many of you who are in it are on this live listening to me. But thank you so much for being here. Again, if you want to sign up now, it's taliaskitchen.com/yes. This live is happening on Sunday, April 14th at 6 p.m. Pacific time. So this coupon code is only good until tomorrow night, Monday, April 15th at midnight Pacific time. So you really want to jump in the next 24 hours. And thank you. I love you. And I'll see you again very soon.